සමහර වෙලාවට ඇවිල්ලා මේ අම්මේ කියලා දොරට තට්ටු කරලා එනවා. මම දවස් දෙකක් තුනක් දොරත් ඇවිල්ලා ඇරියා.
ගේ අම්මලා තාත්තලා අඬනකොට මේ අයියා ගැන කියලා ඉතින් මට හිතුණා මේ මගේ අයියා මේ රට වෙනුවෙන් මේ වැඩක් කරන එක මේ හොඳයි කියන එක.
எனக்கு நம்பிக்கை இருக்கு அப்பா என்ன பார்க்க நிச்சயம் திரும்பி வருவார்.
Civil conflict in the north came to an end, so they say. Victory celebrations again and again. Many were hopeful democracy will be delivered. They expected the disappearances would cease and social justice would prevail. While the drama of the Rainbow Revolution being written prior to the actual transition of power, President Mahinda Rajapaksa called for a snap presidential election 2 years earlier. He was certain about securing power. However, an unpredicted opponent came to the arena with the support of the right, who was strengthened by certain actors who called themselves leftists. They put forward the slogans of good governance and democratic rights. Slogans demanding democracy have been blown away with the wind. However, they created the basis of the victory for President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. The foremost of the demands to bring about justice to those who disappeared and invite those who fled the island to return back home. Now the Rainbow Revolution is over. The society is back in slumber as it was used to, but it cannot overrun or weigh down the struggle for democratic rights.
ඒ දවස්වල දැනීමේදී ඉතින් අතුරුදන් වෙච්ච අය ගැන හොයනවා. ඉතින් අයියා ෆොටෝස් වගේක් එහෙම ගෙනත් දුන්නා ගෙදර. මට මොනවා හරි වුණොත් එහෙම ඒ කියන්නේ ලියකියවිලි වගේක් ගෙනත් දුන්නා. හැබැයි නංගි මේක කාටවත් දෙන්න එපා. ඒක මම බැලුවාම ඒකේ තියෙන ඉතින් අතුරුදන් වෙච්ච අය ගැන හොයන ෆයිල් එකක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. එයාලගේ ෆොටෝස් එහෙම තියෙනවා. මෙයා ඒ සම්බන්ධව ගිහිල්ලා මේ හොයනවා කියන එක තමයි ඉතින් මේ තියෙන්නේ.
Lalit Kumar Veeraraj and Kuhan Muruganandan of Frontline Socialist Party were engaged in collecting information about those who were abducted and disappeared in Jaffna. A press conference with regard to disappearances was scheduled at Jaffna on the 10th of December 2011. On the 9th of December, their own names were added to this list of the involuntarily disappeared.
දේශනාව කරන්නේ මේ අතුරුදහන් වෙච්ච අය වෙන එකක් වෙන මොකොත් මම එහෙ කරන්නේ. දැන් තාත්තට මේ මම විතරයි ඉන්නේ උනාට යාපනයේ ගොඩාක් අයට අම්මලා නැහැ අයියලා නැහැ සහෝදර සහෝදරයෝ නැහැ.
Lalit was the older brother of 3 sisters and the only son of a family who lived in Padukka, Avisavella. It was a time where people's democratic rights were denied. As the district organizer of Frontline Socialist Party, he was assigned the responsibility to find those who went missing and to campaign for the freedom of the lives of those living in the north. In the face of endless obstacles and harassment by security forces, he continued traveling throughout the Jaffna Peninsula. Families of the disappeared treated and accepted him as one of their own sons. His activities as a dedicated human rights activist were obvious, but he knew there is an imminent risk of being hunted down.
අතුරුදහන් වෙන මාසයක් විතර ඇති. මෙන්න මේක තියාගන්න බං. මං ජීවත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ බං ගොඩක් කල්. ඒ උනට උඹලා අඬන්න එපා ඈ. අයියා නිතරම කියන්නේ. නට අයියා හිතෙනවා එයා ගොඩක් කල් ජීවත් වෙන්නේ කියලා. ඒ අයියට තේරිලා තමයි අර දීපු ෆොටෝ තුනම අයියා දුන්නේ අපි තුන් දෙනාටම.
Even with the war being over, the entire Jaffna Peninsula remained a high-security zone. Amongst heavy presence of security forces and intelligence apparatus, how could a human rights activist go missing?
කේලි රංගු කැල කියලා දෙන්න හතුරුදන් වෙලා නැහැ. ඉතින් අත්අඩංගු ගාර ඉන්නවයි කියලා. ඉතින් කියලා නඩුවට එක නඩුවකටවත් පෙනී හිටියේ නැහැ කේලි රංගු කැල්ල. යාව කැලෙවෙත් නැහැ. ඒක ප්‍රශ්න කිව්වා මම මේක සනීප නැහැ පිටරට ගිහලා එක ඒවා කිව්වා. ඊට පස්සේ කියලා තිබ්බා මට මේවා ප්‍රකාශයක් කරන්න කිව්වා. මේ ලලිත් කුගන් අතුරුදන් වෙලා මේ නෑ අත්අඩංගු බාර ඉන්නවා කියලා. ඒකයි මම කිව්වේ කියලා එයා කියලා තිබුණා කේලිය රඹුක් කරලා.
The way that the Rajapaksa government responded and handled the disappearance of Lalit and Kuhan pointed fingers towards them.
ගියා දැන් බස් ගොඩක් ගියා විපක්ෂයෙන් ගිහලා මගදී යනකොට ඉතින් එයාලා බස් වලට එන තියලා අපිට යන්න ගොඩේ ප්‍රශ්න ගොඩක් කරා මේ අමුදාවෙන්.
The disappearance of Lalit and Kuhan brought fear back to the north once again. The abductions and disappearances were a clear indication that even though the armed conflict was over, the issues of winning democratic rights and freedom still remained.
අතුරුදන් වෙච්ච අය ගැන පිටටින් එකක් තිබුණා අපි මේ පිටකොටුවේ. ඊට පස්සේ ඒකට ඇවිල්ලා හිටියා. දැන් යාළගේ දෙමාපියෝ අතුරුදන් වෙච්ච අයගේ දෙමාපියෝ එමෙ ඇවිල්ලා හිටියා. ඉතින් එයාලා කියනවා අපිට මේ ඔයාලගේ නිකම්ම සහෝදරයෙක් විතරයි. එයා අපිට දෙවියෙක් වගේ. මේ අපි ඔයාලට වැඩිය අපි සෑහෙන හිතින් දුක් විඳින. අතුරුදන් වෙච්ච ඔයාලා දීපු අයගේ දෙමාපියොත් ඇවිල්ලා හිටියා. ඔයාලා දුන්නා මේ කවදාරි එයාට නම් මුකුත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් කවදාරි අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා එයා එයි කියලා.
Lalit was active among the parents and relatives of missing persons in Jaffna for about a year. It was not a long period of time, but the bond was so close.
මට නම් හරි ආඩම්බරයි අයියා ගැන හිතනකොට. හරි කියන්නේ පිටුක් වෙනවා මගේ සහෝදරයෙක් අතුරුදන් වෙච්ච කෙනා මම සෑහෙන දුක් වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම මට හරි ආඩම්බරයි අයියා ගැන මේ වගේ සහෝදරයෙක් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මේ අඩුයි කියන එක.
Saranga lost the protection of her father when she needed it the most. Kuhan Muruganandan was abducted along with Lalit Kumar Veeraraj at Achuveli, Jaffna, demonstrating once more the true nature of Sri Lankan democracy.
நான் யாழ்ப்பாணம் வர தேடி யாழ்ப்பாணம் போனேன். அந்த லொரி வர இடத்துக்கு போய் அங்கெல்லாம் தேடி பார்த்ததுக்கு அவர் கிடைக்கல. இது வந்து அச்சுவேலி போலீஸில் 10ஆம் தேதி நேரம் 5 மணிக்கு தான் முறைப்பாடு கொடுத்தேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் நான் அடிக்கடி போய் போலீஸில் கேட்பேன் இப்படி என்ன மாதிரின்னு சொன்னதுன்னா தாங்களும் தேடி கொண்டு இருக்கேன் எந்த முடிவும் கிடைக்கல அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. அப்புறம் ஒரு 3 கிழமைக்கு பிறகு அச்சுவேலி போலீஸில் போய் பைக் நின்றதை பார்த்துட்டு இதை இன்னும் எங்களை பைக் இங்கே நிற்கிது எப்படி கிடைச்சது அப்படின்னு சொல்லல சொன்னாங்க. கோப்பா போலீஸ் எடுத்து தந்தாங்க. கோப்பா கோயிலடியில் நின்று எடுத்தேன்னு சொல்லி கோப்பா போலீஸ் அச்சுவேலி போலீஸில் ஒப்படைச்சிருக்காங்க. ஆட்கள்கிட்ட முடிவு இது வரைக்கும் கிடைக்கல தானே.
Kuhan left the LTTE, for which he was actively involved in for about 10 years. Having made the decision, he started making a living by a small trade, and he started a new life with his wife and daughter. Meeting Lalit Kumar Veeraraj, the district organizer of Frontline Socialist Party, was a new juncture for Kuhan's life. Visiting the families of the disappeared in Jaffna, assisting them to collect information of the whereabouts of their loved ones, and to help them to strengthen their downtrodden families was a duty next to his life. The human rights activist already knew it was really putting his life at risk once again.
ஒரு வருஷம் நட்பு இருந்துச்சு. அவங்க வந்து கட்சி சம்பந்தமாக அந்த காணா போனவர் தேடுற இதில் தான் இறங்கினாங்க. லலித் யாழ்ப்பாணத்தில் வந்து இந்த கட்சியின் இதில் வெளிப்படுத்துகிறார்ன்ற ஒரு நோக்கமாக இருக்கலாம். லலித்தும் குறைஞ்சிருந்தேங்க கட்சியின் கொள்கைகளை வெளிப்படுத்தி யாழ்ப்பாண மக்களுக்கு புரிய வைக்கணும் என்ற ஒரு காரணத்தால் லலித்தையும் கொண்டு நடத்தியிருக்கலாம்.
After the war, being in an area with a strong presence of security forces and the fact that the abduction occurred in broad daylight, this disappearance paints a grim picture of Sri Lankan democracy with colours of terror.
மக்கள் மத்தியில் அந்த நேரத்தில் ஃபோன் காணாமல் நேரத்தில் மக்கள் மத்தியில் மக்கள் பெருசாக கதைக்க பயப்படுவாங்க தானே, தங்களுக்கு இதே மாதிரி நடந்துடும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி. பெருசாக எப்படி நல்லது செய்ய போய் காணாமல் போயிருக்காங்கன்னு தான் சொல்லிடுவாங்க.
5 years have gone by after her beloved father's abduction. Saranga is learning to live. Her father's wish was for her to be a lawyer one day. Why was she denied the affection and protection of her father?
எனக்கு நம்பிக்கை இருக்கு, அப்பா என்ன பார்க்க நிச்சயம் திரும்பி வருவார்.
அப்பாட கதைக்க வாழும்போது நான் சொல்லுவேன், அப்பா இருக்கிறார், உயிரோட இருக்கிறார், வருவார், கவலைப்பட வேணாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவேன். நான் அதே மாதிரி அலைக்குள்ளே அப்பா சொல்லுவேன், அம்மா கவலைப்படாதீங்க, அப்பா இருக்கிறாங்க, வருவேன், இன்னும் யாரும் படுப்பேன்.
Having served as a teacher for generations, Rajamani Gunaratnam is waiting for her only son alive to return home safe. Her sons playing about at home in childhood is still fresh in her memories.
Both sons, Ranjidan Gunaratnam and Prem Kumar Gunaratnam, both studied at St. Mary's College from their childhood, and they passed the competitive examinations, the scholarship examinations, both passed. And my elder son Ranjidan Gunaratnam went to Pinnola Mahavidyalaya for his A-level classes. He studied in the maths area and he successfully passed the A-level and he entered the university college, the engineering section. The same way, my small younger son, he also followed his brother's footsteps. He passed his A-level examination successfully and he also entered the engineering section at Peradeniya.
The infamous Black July of 1983 marked the beginning of a dark phase in Sri Lankan history. In 1989, when democracy was a scarcity in the country, the sons of Rajamani Gunaratnam were leading the student movement in the university. The older son, Ranjidan Gunaratnam, became the convener of the Inter-University Student Federation. As a result of student political activism, he was arrested several times and finally went missing.
The army forces had come to my house in Kegol. They had asked the father where the mother and the daughter, and he had said that they were in Colombo. So he came to that place in the midnight, at about 2 o'clock in the midnight, and they tapped our door. And I was scared, but I slowly opened the door because I had my young daughter with me. So I saw some army forces with a jeep, and they told me, your husband is also in the van. You both come and we are going to show your elder son. So we were happy to see him. So we both got ready and we got into the van. They blindfolded our eyes and we just sat on the van and we three went. We didn't know where they took us. They went very far and they came to some place and we didn't know what that place was. So I asked him, the armies who were there, I asked them several times to show my son. But they said they did not get orders from the higher places and they asked us to wait. And the next day, again they blindfolded our eyes and they took them to a room. My husband didn't come because he was walking on crutches. So my daughter and I went to that room, but we were blindfolded, and we stayed there for about 5 minutes, and again they brought us back. So that night we were given a hall, just a hall, a spacious hall, and there were so many army forces going up and down, and we had to sleep there. So I wrapped my daughter with my own sari, and we both slept on the floor there. And the next morning also I asked them, and they said, no, we didn't get any information from the high authorities, so we are taking you all home.
By 1994, there was a considerable gap after the end of the armed conflict. The loss of her older son brought her an unending pain. Kumar Gunaratnam, her only living son, was attempting to place their political party within mainstream politics to establish and uphold democracy.
So he was involved in the politics, and owing to some death threats, he had to leave the country, and for his own safeguard, he went to Australia with his family.
Kumar Gunaratnam led the party to leave the alliance, which led to the Rajapaksa government too to steer away completely from coalition politics. For that reason, he was mandated by a majority of the party. In 2012, the mother of Gunaratnam received more bad news.
Then all of a sudden we got news that Kumar's friends, they had informed us to come immediately to Colombo. So on the same day we went to Colombo, and we got the information that Kumar was missing. So his friends, they all got together and searched him everywhere, and we also went with them. We searched him, but we could not find him. On the third day, my daughter and we went to the Australian Embassy, and they also said that he is a citizen of ours, and we are also searching for him. And on the third day we got news that he had been deported to Australia.
Having lost her older son, she was in greater grief that she was going to lose her only son living.
When I heard that he was abducted, all of a sudden my mind went through the last incidents of my elder son. So I thought the same thing will happen to my younger son also. So I was very sad, and I fainted, and I had all sorts of illness. And from the day I lost my son, 1989, still I have my pressure, and I'm still with my tablets. That is so many years back, and that comes to my mind, and I'm still grieving for him.
It was at this first phase of the new left political movement, called the Frontline Socialist Party, when Kumar Gunaratnam, a political bureau member of that party, was abducted. At the same time, another political bureau member, Dimuthu Artigala, was also abducted. It was later alleged that the Rajapaksa regime was responsible for this abduction. Bending to pressure built up at a local and international level, they had to release Kumar and to deport him to Australia. He returned to the island in 2015, responding to a promise of the newly formed government. Under its good governance policies, the new government openly invited those who fled the country during the former regime to return home, promising that they won't be harmed.
All of a sudden he came to our house, and I was excited to see my son coming from Australia. We hugged each other, and I was very glad to see him after a very long time. And he came again, and he knew that I was suffering from my leg ailment, and he had prepared a doctor at Ragama, and he asked me to go with one of his friends to get the medicine. So I went with him, and Kumar was at home with his sister. So when I came back, and after a few minutes, the police jeep came.
Kumar Gunaratnam, political bureau member of Frontline Socialist Party, was arrested under allegations relating to citizenship on the 4th of November 2015. Locking him behind bars has made the mother in her 80s struggle once again. Having returned to the island, Kumar applied for Sri Lankan citizenship repeatedly. But the authorities, without any consideration of his legitimate rights, took the matter to courts, revealing their political motives as well as the contradictions in their preach and practice with regard to good governance policies.
Prem Kumar, he was born in the General Hospital, Kegal, and he was educated here, and he continued his higher studies here, and he was involved in politics, and he did not go anywhere. He is a citizen. He has got his citizenship in Sri Lanka. So why does the government hesitate in giving him his citizenship? That is why I want to ask. And I am 80 years old now. I want my son to be with me, and he is a great help to me. So I want him here. Why does the government hesitate in giving his citizenship? That is my question.
Struggles of solidarity have been developed locally and internationally, demanding the citizenship of Kumar Gunaratnam and in search of Lalit and Kuhan. These experiences cannot be considered as isolated cases unless there is closure. The struggle to uphold democracy in Sri Lanka has been a debacle throughout its short history. It must be reiterated that these Sri Lankan experiences we live through, due to absence of true democracy, consolidate a preface of an impending threat towards workers, students, farmers, and leaders, as well as human rights activists.